Hello guys, it's Kasim and welcome back again to Anomaly Coaching. So I recently saw a question that I found really interesting about leadership that I wanted to share some ideas with you on because I think it can really help you in your life, and I think you can take some ideas away from it that you can implement in your organization, that you can implement in your life, that I think will really help you to become a higher, fuller expression of who you're capable of becoming. The question went like this: what do leaders need the most in the midst of this never-ending crisis? I'm looking for content to help leaders in my organization who are exhausted and have a narrow bandwidth. Okay, so that was a question. And so what I want to try to do over the next few moments is I want to share, I've made some notes on this. And so what I want to do is I want to share as much as I can of the notes that I have made with you. And I hope that something lands with you that can help you to become a higher, fuller expression of yourself that you can use as a strategy, as an ideology, as a tactic to implement in your life or in your organization. Okay, so there's three things that I want to firstly begin off by saying, which before I actually get into the tactics are philosophical ideas that I want you to think about, that they are conclusions, that they are paradigms, which I think are really important for you to understand. The first of which is that there are essentially two ways to get somebody to do whatever you want, whether that be your partner, whether that be the leaders in your organization, anybody. There's two ways to get somebody to do what you want. The first, which is the most obvious and is the easiest, is you force the person. So for example, in your organization, you can say to your employees or your leaders, look, if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, if you don't get your shit together, if you guys don't become motivated, if you don't hit your figures, I'm going to fire you. Your jobs are going to be on the line. If you say that to somebody, people are more likely to be able to do whatever it is that you want them to do. Okay. Now I'm gonna presume that you know what the benefits and the negatives are of that route without me going into it, because I want to stay on track here. The second way to get somebody to do what you want them to do is that you essentially inspire them. In other words, you show them what they're capable of doing. They look at you and they say, wow, you're doing something. The results that you have in your life, I love it. I want the same results. Therefore, I'm going to implement whatever it is that you're doing in your life, in my life, and hopefully I will be able to achieve the same kinds of results that you're achieving. Right? In other words, that means that you as a leader have to show your staff, and you have to go first with everything that you're requiring for them to be able to do. I say this because, and I think it's really important to you, which is why I wanted to begin this sort of segment off with me sharing this with you, because a lot of leaders are not seen, right? A lot of senior managers are not actually seen by their staff. They get memos, they get emails, they get all sorts of paperwork about what it is that they should be implementing and how they should be behaving, but they've never actually seen the senior managers implement those very attitudes or actions or habits into in their lives. So they've never seen it modeled. Which leads me to the second thing that I want to share with you, which is linked to that, which is really important. The second thing that I want to share with you is that men do not learn by being told what to do. Men learn by logic and by modeling. So I learned this because I deal a lot with relationships, particularly conflict in relationships where a woman wants a guy to do something and the guy is just not really doing it. Whether that be that the woman is trying to get the guy to be more motivated or to actually get inspired enough to be able to go for promotion, whatever it may be. And because the man is not doing it, the woman all of a sudden gets frustrated. She then nags the man even more, and this causes a conflict and this rift in the relationship. And part of the reason why the woman cannot get the man to do what she wants is because the woman keeps telling the man what he should be doing, but she's never modeled for the man what he should be doing. Because men do not learn and do not do things based on being told what they should be doing. Men do things based on being modeled what they should be doing. So now let me bring this back to you. Your staff in your organization part of the reason why they might be feeling confused, why they might be feeling apprehensive, why they're not producing the results that you want them to, where they're not at the energy level that you want them to, is because they've never been modeled it by you. They've never seen you model it for them. So that's the second thing. The third thing, which I think of all of these is perhaps the most important thing, is what I call AQ. So I'm sure I call them the 3Qs. So essentially, in today's world, there are 3Qs that you need as a leader. First, you need what's called IQ, which is intelligent quotient. The second is EQ, which is emotional quotient. And the third is which I call adaptability quotient. So I'm sure you know what IQ is, right? IQ means how clever you are, how much information you have, how good you are at making decisions, how good you are at grasping ideas. There's loads and loads of leaders who know what to do, and they can implement ideas and they can think of things. The second is emotional quotient. Emotional quotient, when we're talking about leadership, is about your ability to empathize with your staff, to be able to understand why a father might be asking you to start work a little bit earlier, a little bit later, a couple of times of the week, so that they can take their child to school, right? And so you all of a sudden emphasize and you get that, or you predict that for example, one of your staff, they absolutely love a certain band. So you hear one of your team or a brother or a sister talking about that staff and or that band that they really like, and then they go to your staff and you tell them about them, and you say to them, do you know what, I'm going to give you 4 days off to go, and I'm going to give you an extra day, and we're going to still pay you, right? I know it's not in your holiday, but we'll still pay you to go on that holiday as an extra day so that you can recover, because you're probably going to be drinking. Now that's what I talk about when I talk about emotional quotient. The last one, which is the one that I want to talk to you about, which is the one that you really want to implement in your life, is what I call adaptability quotient. This is about your ability to be able to change, to be able to move to the times. We live in a time today where your ability to be able to shift within an organization is more and more and more important. The longer it takes you to shift to the trends, to the environment, or to be able to shift to how the current state of whether it be your team or whether it be the society is, the longer it takes you, the more likely you are for your organization to fail. So being able to adapt really quickly is really, 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 really crucial as a leader in today's time. And so encompassing in all of that, if you as a leader find it really difficult to adapt to new change, then that means you cannot implement that as part of the culture of your organization. And so you want to be able to cultivate that within yourself, and you really want to practice that within yourself. And that begins in your own home, right? That begins not when you're leading people, but that begins with yourself, right? Because leadership is influence, and the first person that you can influence is yourself, right? So now that I've said all of that as a basis, let me now get into some of the ideas that I want to share with you, and I hope you find useful. So and I'm just going to run through these. And by the way, if you see me looking down, it's because I've got so many ideas that I want to share with you that I didn't want to forget. That's why I'm going to look down. So the first thing that you can do is, number one, clarify the vision and the mission of the organization. So what I mean